Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Resign. Nope. And this is episode 299 of the world famous, the University of Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call it Online Marketing Moves. And we are coming to you live today. Today is June the 7th, 2021. At the time of this recording, ladies and gentlemen, it is 12:45 p.m. right here in the great state of Georgia, in the city of Atlanta. Ladies and gentlemen, come on in. This is Monday. You know, it's so funny how the world, if you ever think about this, like right now, we're recording this. This is 12:45 p.m. We are in Atlanta, Georgia. We are in the United States. It is 12:45. We are on the East Coast of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, right now it's probably like 9:45 in California, 9:45 a.m. In Hawaii, it's probably like 8:45, 7:45, a.m. In Australia, it's probably like 2:30, 2:46 a.m. on Tuesday. It's so crazy how time works. If you fly somewhere, you lose 3 hours. You fly somewhere else, you gain 3 hours, 4 or 5 hours. It's amazing. You never think about this kind of stuff until you're like me and you've had to do some traveling in your time. You will realize that, man, and the time will throw you off. I remember, not before we get to the subject at hand, I remember when I lived out in California when I was in the Navy. All right, California is Pacific time for those that don't know. So right now in Georgia it's 12:46 p.m. So right now in California it's 9:46 a.m. And I remember I got so used to that life, and like the football games would come on at, the football games would start at 10 a.m., I believe. Yeah, 10 a.m. And you watch a couple games, and before you know it, it was still early in the afternoon. The games will be over with. It's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and the sun is still out, and you're like, what should I do now? And that's cool. And I remember, because I grew up in Missouri. In Missouri, we're on Central Time, so it's an hour back of Eastern Time. So in New York, it's 12 something. In Missouri, it's 11 something, and then in California, it's 9 something. So I remember when I moved back home, I'm like, the game started at 12. That's not bad. It's not too bad. So the games would get done at like 6. And I remember when I first moved to Georgia, football games were not into like 7, 7:30. If you wanted to watch the late game, it went into almost midnight. And I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. Okay. But anyway, it just gives you something to think about when it comes to time. It's amazing. Like if you ever drive around the United States and you get to certain states, it's interesting. Like certain states, like Indiana, you'll be driving. Let's say you want to go from Indianapolis to Chicago. Okay, so you're driving up I-65. You can look this up on any map if you want to. You're driving up I-65. It's Eastern time. It's cool, right? And then you get to a certain point. I think around I-65, around exit mile marker 230, 240, you get up close to Gary, Indiana, and then it just boom switches to Eastern time. So you lose an hour in the same state, which is kind of cool, and it's kind of interesting, So I just it makes me wonder, like, how does the time zones work in other countries? Like, let's say you're in London. Is there a time difference from, if you're living in London and you want to drive up to Manchester, is there a time difference? Is there a time difference from England to Scotland? Like, how does that work? Like, I'm going to do more research on that because, time fascinates me. Like, time is, of course, time is infinite, but we, as humans, as human beings, we're not, we're humans. I know lions, tigers, and bears, they don't really have a time clock. They don't have a time schedule, but, most humans, they put we all put ourselves on some kind of time schedule. So, but I'm going to do more research about all that and see how that works, because it's very interesting, this whole time thing. You know what I mean? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, enough about that. It's time for you to listen to the podcast. And today we are going to talk about why you should, produce content every day, because there's a breaking point. And what I mean by a breaking point is there is a point to where you, my friend, there's a breaking point to where you are having, it's like lifting weights. You lift, you lift, you lift, you lift, and then at some point, you start to see the results. You start to see the massive gains, and it works like that when it comes to YouTube. It comes to that when it comes to blog posts. It comes to that when it comes to podcasts. You will keep creating content, and you will look at the numbers. Trust me, you will look at them, and you'll start to see small gains. You'll start to see small gains, and at some point, there's always one episode, or there's always one point to where you see, boom, massive results, and you're like, oh, that's it. There she goes. And after that, things get a lot easier, things get a lot better, and things go from chunky peanut butter to smooth peanut butter. Okay. And the reason why I bring this up is because I don't know if you, as I told you before, I used to be big into wrestling. And so there's a guy named Diamond Dallas Page, DDP. DDP has one of the best stories as far as why you should never give up on your dreams, why you should never give up on, just life in general, And because Diamond Dallas Page, I remember this guy, he started off as like a wrestling manager, but he was a tall fella. And I was younger to be a wrestling manager, and he looked bigger than the wrestlers. And so I guess they told him, hey, man, why don't you start wrestling? You should be a wrestler. And Diamond Dallas Page was like in his 30s when he started wrestling. And that is late, as far as the wrestling business. Because a lot of people, they start wrestling when they're like 18, 19, whatever, But DDP, he started in his 30s. And he made it to the greatest heights. He became, like the WCW, the World Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion of the world. He was like 40 something, you know what I mean? And so he had a great story. And then, of course, he retired from wrestling, because by the time they shut down doors, he was almost 50, which is cool. But so he went to the WWF for a little while, but I guess it didn't work out or whatever. And then he started something called DDP Yoga. And now, if you never tried yoga, I highly recommend it. It's cool. It's very relaxing. It's at first, if you never really contorted your body or trying to move your body like that, it's funny how you'll be trying to do these moves and they don't look hard, but then you just keep falling over. Boom, 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 boom. Because I have a yoga mat, I have yoga blocks, and I use the blocks because I haven't quite mastered the yoga down pat yet. But for flexibility reasons, I keep going. I keep hitting the mat and trying it. But so DDP, he started a company, DDP Yoga, and he was going about it, and it was going along pretty slow. And he wasn't, he was just like, I'm, doing it. Things are kind of working. And I remember he went to, I think he went to a show, Shark Tank or whatever. And I don't know if it worked for him or not, but there was this guy who started doing his yoga. His name was Arthur, and Arthur was like, he had canes, and I think he weighed like 300 pounds or something like that. And he just started slowly doing it, and started slowly doing the DDP yoga. And Arthur transformed himself, he transformed his life, transformed his weight and everything. And after that, like the DDP yoga, after that, it took off a Diamond Dallas Page. And he said things haven't been normal since. And it got me to thinking, and it's like, this is so true, because you'll see, like, if you ever follow somebody on YouTube, or if you ever watch the YouTube channel, you see them, they start off kind of small, then it's one video or something that happens to where, boom, more people start discovering them. And then they go from, maybe 5,000 people to 20,000, and then it just keeps building and building, and you're like, oh man, they really are cranking it out, And for you, that's what's gonna happen if you keep producing the content, because like I told you the other day, every piece of video you put out is not gonna be a home run. Some of it's gonna be better than others. Some is gonna give you better results than others. But there's gonna be one video, or there's gonna be the fact that you show up every day in the algorithm. Because if you do YouTube every day, if you shoot a video every day, post a video every day, or once a week, if they know you're consistent, they will show you to more people. They will show you to more people, and more people will see you. And if you on social media sending out the videos to people, more people are gonna see you. More people are gonna find you. And then there might be 8 months of you kind of floundering around and really, not, getting good numbers. Not the greatest numbers, good numbers. And then one day, boom, explosion happens. Okay, and you're up there. You're another stratosphere, and there's no looking back. And now you're like, all right, we got these numbers, and it's time to go, and it's time to keep producing more and more. Not that I'm just going to say that. Of course, you don't want to, just because you're not getting a lot of numbers, you don't want to put in the effort. You know what I mean? Put in the work. But when you get more of an audience, they will go back and they will find you can. And you can always do this, because there's this guy that I see on Instagram, and he has a very cool. Sorry about that. He has a very cool Instagram page, and his Instagram page is he does like he shows the cartoon. His name is Milo the Cat. You should check it out if you're into hip hop. He'll show like a cartoon from the past, and then they'll be rapping to the words of a song. It's like 20, 30 seconds. And one of the things he does, he'll put hashtag before you found me, or before they knew me, or whatever. And it just shows some of his earlier work to the newer audience. And so let's say you get 250,000 YouTube subscribers, and you want to, let's say you might want to take a week off or something like that. It's cool to say, hey, some of you have never seen this video, so I want to take you back to when I first got started and show some videos for a few days, just to see, because the content from that day, from the first week, is probably just as good as the content you're producing right now. So it always helps. You can always bring it back. You can always retro it. People love the throwbacks. People love the flashbacks. So don't think, I gotta just keep doing new videos. No, you can always say, hey man, let's go back and let's take a step back in time. Because I think that's cool. Like, like one day there's gonna be a lot more people listening to this podcast than they listen to now. And I'm going to whip out the first. I found that I have a lost tape. I think I still got it. I have a lost recording of my first ever podcast. Not the podcast that you see. If you find this podcast and you find your homeboy, and it's the first podcast that I posted in this line is from July 15th, 2020. But I have a podcast from November of 2019 that I'm like, I'm keeping that. And one day, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pull that out at some point, and I'm going to show you why you should never give up, why you should never quit, and why you should never stop producing content, because that podcast is one of the worst podcasts ever. Okay. But it's there. I have it on my computer. I will try to make sure I save it, so that way one day I will pull it out and use it. And for you, you can do the same, because sometimes, we talked about this yesterday, belief. Sometimes people believe in you. Sometimes you believe in yourself. Sometimes you have to get jump started. And if you have an audience, there's somebody in the audience. Everybody in the audience is not at the same level. Everybody in your audience is not. Everybody doesn't have. Yeah, I know I can do this. Some people need the help. Some people need to hear that. Some people need to see you and not your greatest. You know what I mean? Like right now, like I told you, we are rocking and rolling. This is almost episode 300. We've been doing this for almost a year. The comfortable level is there, all that stuff. But in the beginning, no. So somebody one day, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, there's probably some 20-year-old child, 21-year-old kid, like, hey man, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then they will find your content, they will find my content, and they will go, I can do that, but I can't get to where they're at. And then you have to let them know, hey man, I've been where you've been. We've all started from the bottom. We've all started from ground zero, okay? From level 1. And it doesn't matter. The thing is, you just want to get in there, bang it on out, and keep it moving. And at some point, like I said, the DDP video, it's like an actor. If you ever seen an actor you like, I'll give you an example. George Clooney. George Clooney was on ER. But before ER, George Clooney did a lot of pilots. He did a lot of pilots. A lot of pilots failed. A lot of pilots didn't make the cut. He was a good-looking guy. I mean, he kept getting work, but it just wasn't, at the level that he was expecting. He did ER. Boom. Now George Clooney is the star, all right? He's a TV star. George Clooney wanted more. He wanted to be, boom, a movie star. He went out, did a movie. I think it was with J-Lo or somebody, but the movie hit, boom. Now George Clooney is a movie star. And there's always pivots. There's always little pivots to when you become, successful. Or when you become, hey, look out for this young lady. Look out for this guy, It's like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, he did Risky Business. Risky Business was a good movie. And they're like, all right, we see some potential in this guy. My boy Tom Cruise, he did Top Gun. Boom. Tom Cruise is an action star. He's a Hollywood star. He's bankable, and his career has not been the same since. And this happens to a lot of people. There's not many people that come in, everybody, like let's look at LeBron James. LeBron James, I remember he was a phenomenon, he was phenomenal. He was in high school and people were like, this guy's going to be the greatest. He's the king. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was like 17 on the cover, 16, something like that, on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And I'm like, this is the chosen one. Listen, 99% of us not going to come in with all that hype, with all those expectations, There's very few people. There's LeBron James, Michelle Wie, Dakota Fanning, people like that. There's very few people who just get hype in the beginning, There's very few people like that. The rest of us, it's a pivot. At some point, you keep doing what you do, and then boom, it takes off. All right. So the most important thing is be ready. Be prepared. You might not be able to be prepared fully because this thing is going to take a life. It's going to take on a life of itself, and the money is going to start flowing in. The success is going to start flowing in. The comments are going to start flowing in, good, bad, and indifferent. These people are going to like you. These people are going to love you. And some people are going to loathe you because it's just the way it is. For every positive reaction, there's always some kind of negative, you know what I mean? So just be knowing, like, hey, when this thing takes off, when you get a lot of, because I find it funny, you'll see people and they'll post a video and somebody will already hit the thumbs down button. The video's been up 1 minute. So you haven't even seen the video. You haven't even watched the video. They just hit the thumbs down button just because, and it's just how it goes. But, just be prepared, because if you're consistent and you keep producing content, like I told you, you don't have to do it every day. You don't have to do it every day, but once a week, twice a week, whatever you say you're going to do, for the most part, please try to keep up with that. If you say, hey, I'm going to produce a blog post every day, do a blog post every day. If you say, hey, I'm going to do a podcast every day, try to do a podcast every day. Now, we all know things happen. We all know we ain't perfect. And so 365 days, I started off, I said I was going to do 365 episodes. For the most part, we probably missed maybe 10 days, if that. I don't know. I have to go back and check. But, the consistency has been there and it's paid off because there's more people now than ever before. In the beginning, there was 0 people, but now we're getting more people. And then soon enough, there'll be one podcast where people all of the people in the world fall in love, and they'll be like, I love Tony Rosano so much and I just want to hear his podcast all the time, and boom, 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 there you go, and then I'll say, never email me again, never don't talk to me, I'm too big for you people. Just kidding. But there's a time that you will be doing these videos, you'll be doing these blog posts, you will be shooting these videos that you go from, let's say, 50 views a video to 10,000 views a video, and you'll be amazed. And there will be criticism. Prepare yourself for the criticism. Be prepared for the positive, be prepared for the negative. Me personally, if I was you, I wouldn't really respond to the negative or the positive. I always say, you can always get on your video and say, thank you for listening, thank you for listening, thank you for subscribing, thank you for being a part of the family, you can always say that. But if you really don't have time, once you start getting, real up there, you don't have time to respond to every, you could try, but good luck, but, and then if you're going to reply to the positive. Don't be one of these people, because you see people, and it's kind of annoying because you'll see people and they're fans of so-and-so, and they're like, hey, I love you, so-and-so, I love you, Cardi B. And, Cardi B bypasses them. They like, and somebody else will put, Cardi B, you effing suck. And she'll be like, F you. But what about all the people that say they love you? Come on, a lot of people are more prone to react to negative stuff than positive. So don't be one of those people, right? But just remember, if you keep producing the content, there will be a point where you will go from five likes on your video, 5 views on your video every day to 50,000 views on your video. And when that happens, man, rub your hands, pray to the good Lord and be like, hey, I'm out of here now, okay? Mama, I made it. But I just kidding. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's it for the episode. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Just remember, there's a lot of examples that you can look at when it comes to just success. You're on the verge of success, and then boom, it happens. It happens all the time in music. You got one song can put you in a whole nother atmosphere. Okay, so remember that when you're producing the content, and don't try to go for the home run. Just start doing the content, and it will happen for you. I'm telling you, the most important thing you can do, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter where the most important thing you can do in anything in life is be consistent. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. It is lunchtime here because it is 1:00. So we will be getting something to eat. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And we will be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. Episode 300. Should we do something special? I don't know. Let me know. But we will be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is